All right. And I am live. Okay, just gonna check to make sure the technology is working well. Okay. 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 I am live and the sound is working. Perfect. Okay. Dear community, this is Katerina Satori. I wanted to bring this kind of like introductory conversation to a much deeper topic that I will be bringing on Thursday at my metaphysical webinar that it's called Universal Laws. It is free to join. I'll post the link underneath this video. Whenever you're going to watch this on YouTube or Instagram or here on Facebook. And I wanted to just open this exploration for genuine seekers of how to apply ancient wisdom to our modern time. And it's for, I believe this conversation becomes relevant at a particular part of our journey where we begin to open up to a possibility that we do affect what we see in our reality, right? And the more we realize the impact of our thoughts, our actions or lack of our actions, the impact of our feelings, of our emotions, our willpower, the more we become curious, well, if I do impact what I see in my reality, how do I impact intentionally? How do I begin to sculpt my reality? How do I begin to live as a vibrational architect my reality? So if you are in that exploration, this live stream will be useful to you. And before I begin sharing some ideas with you, I wanted to introduce myself. My name is Katerina Satori. I mentor high achievers and leaders, and I teach on a variety of topics from deep mysticism and esoteric studies to leadership and energy mastery. And I also lead transformational retreats and events. And I recently published a couple of books. So lots of creative activity over here in this part of the world. And but how I got here and why is it important for me to share with you is because I have found people who are genuinely and passionately interested in sculpting their dream lives. It's because they started at a very challenging start, right? You want to transcend the circumstances that you were born into. And this is why you have a fire to actually study and learn and transform your lower nature, right? So I had this quest even as a child, looking around at my family environment, looking around at the country that I was born in. And I had a big question. There must be more to life than this. There must be more beauty. There must be more harmony. There must be more opportunities, right? And I was raised by a single mother who was working very difficult factory, labor intense jobs. So I've never seen my mom happy or relaxed unless she was drunk. But to see your parent constantly in survival, constantly fighting just to make ends meet, ignites a new desire for a new kind of life. And my dad was not present because he was drinking his pain away. So I grew up in a very challenging circumstances, constantly confronted by scarcity, survival, and limitation. And as a child, I've made a decision to find the way to transcend that reality and to be a pioneer in my lineage. I didn't have the words for it at 7 or 10 years old. I couldn't explain that that's what I really want to do, but that was the burning fire, right? Okay, I was born into this, right? Oh my gosh, opportunities feel so limited. Why didn't life give me a better options to start? And trust me, when I was a teenager growing up in Russia, there were many times I was angry at life. I thought life was unfair. I looked around at people who had a fraction of my willingness to create something with their life, and they seemed to have way better opportunities. And that did not make sense to me. That why life is so unfair. So if you ever ask yourself that question, you're not alone, because that's a really powerful beginning, right? To feel that dissatisfaction, to propel yourself to a new path. So as a teenager, I found myself angry, frustrated at life. And the good thing is I've always been an optimist. So even if when I moments of anger, I found myself to come back to that sense of possibilities and say, you know what? I'm going to attract opportunities. I'm going to create something beautiful with my life. And I didn't know at that time that this universe, this quantum universe, has a set of principles, right? It has a set of rules, if you want to say it, had a set of laws. I was accidentally discovering how to navigate this universe. And maybe that has been your experience as well. You learn to manifest things seemingly by accident, by actually paying attention. Then when you think of something consistently, you begin to attract it, right? So you just put it two and two together. Wow, my thoughts do affect what I receive. And then you discover that there is a name for it. It's called the law of attraction. You're like, yes, I'm on the path. There's some kind of order in this universe, but law of attraction is just one. There's a blueprint for manifestation or for creation. It's an art and a metaphysical science. And what I find that, when we don't create what we want, it can feel really frustrating and at times defeating, right? Be like, why do I manifest sometimes? Why don't I create what I want consistently, right? And how do I become a more active and intuitive participator in the creation of my dreams, right? So I was curious about it. I wanted to find a process. I wanted to find a set of codes. I wanted to find the keys that can unlock my dream reality and to do it from the inside out. And I remember the very first principle that I intuitively stumbled upon is the principle of envisioning, right? When I was growing up in Russia, the one thing that I intuitively knew how to do is to dare to dream and to dare to actually imagine a new reality. I didn't know that I was tapping into a universal law that's called the law of mentalism. Everything is mind. So your reality is a reflection of your mind, right? I just stumbled upon it. And I remember as a child, 12 years old, I would go and daydream. What I was actually doing, I was tapping into these reality shaping principles that says whatever you dare to envision has a possibility of coming true. If you don't dare to envision it, you have no possibility of creating it. If you're too lazy to envision it, you have no possibility to create it. If you're waiting passively for life to happen to you, you're not going to create the masterpiece of the reality that you're truly capable of on the level of the soul. So, accidental stumbling on the keys and the secrets of the universe was a very playful discovery. And one of the reasons I want to share this topic on this introductory live stream is for every sincere seeker who doesn't want to continue to stumble, but wants to actually access a framework that was given to us by the great masters, benevolent masters and teachers of humanity, the architects of humanity, right? Imagine there is a framework that you can follow, that you can begin to activate and align and eventually embody. To me, that discovery was life-changing. Absolutely life-changing. There is a framework. Wow. There is a map. There is a pathway to fulfilling your dreams. There is these principles that I can learn and study and understand and apply. I am not a victim of my circumstances. I am not a passive leaf blowing from event to event. I can actually begin to see myself as a conscious co-creator of this dream reality. Wow, what a freedom. Oh, wow, what a responsibility. I think I'm scared to even go there because then I will be responsible for my creations. That happens when some people realize that they have the power to create. They don't want to do anything with it. No, don't give me that responsibility. I really enjoy passively waiting for things to happen to me. So this live stream and then the webinar that I'm bringing on the universal laws is for the beings who are tired of waiting, who want to create, who want to be passionately lit from within, on fire with a soul-aligned dream, whatever the dream is for you. But the first thing for us to begin to act as a co-creators of our reality is to accept responsibility of creating. Right? What a powerful opportunity. You know, it's a sort of it's such an interesting, I feel what I like to use as an example to really land this message for all of us, right? And me including, is an example of the body that I like to use a lot, right? You know, here's the two level of approaching creating something physical, right? Where we say, you know, I want to have a strong, healthy body. But I'm simply going to want it. And one day in divine timing, it will happen naturally. Do you see this ever happening? Right? To sculpt your body into a strong form that is resilient, that is vital, that is radiant. You got to take that idea and that desire and create a lifestyle that supports you manifesting that vehicle, that physical expression of your spirit, right? So you begin to change your habits, change how you see yourself, change how you speak about your body, change what you drink, change what you eat, change who you surround yourself with. In order to create, we must change. We must embrace change. We can't just have a conversation in divine timing. One day when I feel like it, my body will just naturally manifest itself. The same thing if you want to build a house. You know, you have a dream. I want to build a house. I want to have a house. But you know, that dream will just naturally come. One day my house will just build itself. It doesn't work like that in a physical dimension. In a physical dimension, we have an idea, we have an inspiration that we receive from the higher planes. It's always a gift, right? And inspiration is such a divine gift. It comes to us as a gift from our higher self. It comes to us as this beautiful answer to the prayer when we say, Spirit, God, Goddess, universe, show me the new direction, show me my purpose, show me my path. Boom, you receive an inspiration, you receive an idea. That's the first gift that comes to us. Then that idea has to pass through 7 gates. You know, I love patterns. My brain naturally recognizes patterns. Maybe you have that gift as well. It's actually a very powerful gift. It's a superpower. You know, develop that gift if you have that. The number 7 is a very powerful number that you can see in many different patterns. 7 archangels, 7 laws of the universe, 7 days of the week. 7 is a spiritual number. 7 levels of reality, right? So I love this number 7, and there are 7 universal laws. So imagine that every single dimension, doesn't matter where you at, 3D, 4D, 5D, every single dimension, everything that exists in the universe is ruled by these 7 laws. We can't escape them. We are affected by them. So the wise thing is to become curious, is to learn to work with them, right? To become curious. Wow. Instead of being frustrated, why can't I manifest the reality that I want? We become curious. What am I missing? What part of the formula I am not aware yet, right? What part of the blueprint of manifesting from the unseen that I don't know how to apply yet? That's a curiosity that is that will open up a lot of possibilities for us. And I feel on fire to share that message, because when more and more people feel lost and confused with what's happening in the collective, and feel oppressed by the corruption of the government, by the breakdown of the financial system, by the noise and the competition and everybody for each other, I ask myself, what can I share that gives the sovereign power back to an individual? What can I share that activates that remembrance that we are spirit in form? That we have these amazing sacred teachings that remind us that we create everything from the inside out, and our reality is a manifestation of our mind. And we can work with that truth. We can turn it around, and it's not going to happen in a day. It's going to take some time, because things take time on the physical plane. But one day, when you realize you have that power, you begin to exercise that power more and more and more, energetic, mental, vibrational, spiritual power. And you begin to manifest faster and faster and faster. You begin to get amazed at the things that you begin to call to yourself. And then you become more intentional. Then you become more like an artist. I am a vibrational artist of my reality. I'm not a random manifester. I don't just throw a bunch of wishes into my vibrational canvas, see what lands. I'm an artist. And if I'm an artist, let me study art. Let me develop a technique. Let me develop a technique. Let me become the best vibrational artist I can be. I will never have this incarnation again. You know, each incarnation is so unique. You will have plenty more lifetimes, but you will never be this you. Only one shot, only one version of you like this will ever exist. Who is here with me? Hi, everyone. If you would like to leave a comment or just tell me where you're logging in from, it will help the algorithms. So this is part of why I want to speak about universal laws, because it's empowering. It's so empowering. This is exactly what helped me transcend my childhood environment, which was filled with domestic violence, alcohol binges, cruelty, and constant uncertainty. When you grow up in something like this, you have two choices: either to collapse under your pain or find the fire to transcend it all and never stop transcending and become a living example of what is possible when you don't let your present circumstances limit your vision. Because it's all about the vision. So, hi Gracie. So, how do we create our reality? First, realizing there is actually a map. There is a map. We don't need to think that it's all random. There is a map. And it's a map that is guiding us to activate different levels of our soul power. Power can have a really bad rap. I was working with a client and we were talking about a power, and she had a breakthrough in our conversation. She said, all my life, I saw power in a negative sense. I saw power as something to be used to dominate and control and manipulate. But now I see power in a completely new way. There is a power to love. There is a power to create. There is a power to transform. So to create something, we need to access our soul power. And what universal laws do, they unveil these gates or these levels of how to create from within. And the universal laws came to us from the mystery schools, right? And what are the mystery schools? It's not any particular spiritual tradition. It's a living golden thread of wisdom that goes through generation after generation after generation after generation. That's a pulse of living wisdom. And I was searching for that wisdom all my life, starting with being drawn to religion, thinking that religion will give me answers, only to find out that religion only gives you fear-based conditioning and tells you to be afraid of God and to be afraid of your body, to be afraid of your sexuality. So I was turned off by that. I said, you know what? Walking away from religion. Where is the living flame of truth? Where can I find that truth? So I turned to philosophy and I began to study the greatest philosophers of our time. I wanted to understand, how can I create my reality from inside out? How can I become sovereign? This thirst for sovereignty, to become free from within, to never be a slave to a system, to never be a slave to my own fear. I wanted that so much. I was willing to do anything, to study anything, to spend hours and hours and years unlocking that, right? So I turned to philosophy, and when I turned to philosophy, I began to discover these ancient teachings, mystery teachings, alchemy, esoteric teachings, hidden teachings that were protected. Many, many centuries, they were hidden away from the masses because they were only given to the initiates, people who were deeply devoted to the path of initiation. Now, when we live in such different times, all these ancient teachings became wildly available, right? Anybody can find these teachings. But the problem is, you need to develop consciousness and humility so these teachings unveil themselves to you. You can pick up Emerald tablets or Kybalion right now. But the question is, can you apply these teachings? Can you really take them and put it into your life? The first time I read the Kybalion, which is the book of Hermetic philosophy that describes 7 universal laws, it was like reading Arabic or reading Chinese. So I could read it intellectually, but I didn't know how to really apply it. And it took several years to humbly keep approaching this wisdom, humbly asking, please reveal yourself to me. Help me understand you, because I know I'm touching something so profound. So this is one of the reasons, my dear community, I want to bring the webinar that I'm bringing on Thursday, and to simply give a voice to how I was able to decode these teachings in the most simple way, in the most practical way, that you can be inspired to see yourself as a sovereign co-creator of your reality, that you begin to get reignited again, to open up your skills, to mold and shape your reality, that you begin to see that leaving things to chance doesn't do any good. And I'm not talking about, this delicate dance of surrender, of surrendering and trusting everything. That's a whole other conversation. In order to create anything in our life, we get to find a balance between an active and receptive principle within us. It takes an active principle to take an idea, right? This is the proofread of my book. I just released the book. I'm going to do a whole different live stream on this, but I just wanted to use this as a metaphor. An active and receptive principle. A receptive principle within us receives inspiration, receives an idea, receives a muse visitation, right? That's our receptive. That's our patience. That's our ability to surrender. That's our ability to be attuned to the divine timing. An active principle goes and builds it, right? An active principle goes, sits down and writes, goes, sits down and types, goes and publishes, right? And what I find, within me and the people that I work with, is oftentimes we lose balance between our active and receptive principles. We either get lost in the receptive principle and just begin kind of to drift in our reality. And wherever the wind blows, we go. And sometimes it's a healing experience. If you've always been in the active principle, you need that healing experience of kind of like going like that. It's okay if it's a temporary experience, but if you're stuck there, if you're unable to seize the direction of your life and to ignite this fire and to move forward towards a particular vision, your soul vision, then you know that you lost balance. It's time to balance it, right? Or we're stuck in the active principle, and that's usually tends to be a pattern that I continue to work through in my life, where you're such a solar being, you're so active, you're so action oriented, as you it's very hard for you to be a non-doing. So maybe that's where the work is, right? But a true embodiment is to value both and to dance with both. Okay, here's I'm in my receptive, here's I'm in my active. And I value and I appreciate and I expand and evolve both of these principles. What I'm finding the challenge with, with, how would I call it? With spiritual community, let's just say. And I don't need you to agree with what I'm about to say. I invite you to contemplate that with me. The challenge that I see is, people confuse surrender with passivity. And they want to surrender to the wisdom of life, which is a really beautiful longing of the soul. Yes, honey. I'm going to feed you in a minute. 1 second. My cat, my temple cat. So there's a confusion between a real surrender and passivity. Real surrender is an active and willing participation with the dance of life. And passivity doesn't get us anywhere. Passivity is watching your best years being wasted, right? Passivity is procrastination on your dreams. Passivity is, letting the limiting beliefs win every time. You have an idea, but your limiting beliefs are stronger. So that is a really honest and objective conversation that I'd like to have with my community. How do we cultivate the power of surrender as the highest mystical art? Cultivating witness consciousness, cultivating, that this is all a game. This is all Leela, divine play. It's a beautiful movie. It's a highly sensory movie. But while you are in this game, let's play your role. Let's play it well, right? Let's give it all. It's not just drift and half-heartedness. Let's give it all. Whatever your soul mission is, whatever is your soul path, let's give it all. Let's give it your best. Let's create art. Let's don't just throw some paint on the wall and call it art. Let's just really bring all our passion, our intention. Let's learn the mechanics of manifestation. I love having conversations like this with you. So the gates and universal laws, my dear ones, we can approach it many ways. We can approach it from the Hermetic philosophy that teaches us there are 7 laws. And the very first one that can be triggering for people who never been exposed to that. The first law says, everything is mind. Universe is mental. When I first heard that universe is mental, I was triggered by that. I said, what are you talking about? The universe is energetic. But you see, every time we approach mystery teachings, we get to approach as an empty cup. And we get to cultivate the attitude that when we approach sacred ancient teachings, we can only translate a fraction of it right away. And it takes contemplation and humility and genuine willingness to ask, what is really being said here? What is really being said here? So when I first heard the universe is mental, I was so triggered. I was like, what? What kind of bullshit is that? Universe is energy. Then I began to study Hermetic philosophies and learning about the great Atlantean teacher, Thoth, who I'm a big fan of. Without Thoth, there would be no humanity. We would perish. We would lose our way. We would remain barbarians. So to honor Thoth is to honor the power of wisdom that guides humanity. Thoth the Atlantean. And he was the one who put together a framework and gave it to humanity. And inspired this whole idea of heaven on earth. We have this idea of heaven on earth, and is it utopia or is it a real thing that we are truly possible to create? But every generation is attempting to create it. No matter if you look at 100 years ago, 200 years ago, there is this desire to create it because it is in our unconscious. So Thoth, who was also known as Hermes for Greeks, Mercury for Romans, and Chehuti for Egyptians, he was the same being who just took many different incarnations. And because he was immortal, meaning he could just transfer consciousness from body to body. And he's so powerful that he can transfer consciousness to many bodies right now. He gave us a framework of how to actually navigate this reality, this physical density. And that's an exciting adventure when you're drawn to that, right? So the universe's mind is the very first hermetic principle, or universe's consciousness. Universe is one consciousness. And when I read the Kybalion, and there is a phrase how we are thoughts in the mind of the all. I thought it was such a beautiful message that has reached me. I am a thought in the mind of the divine. The divine envisioned my soul by thinking of me. And not only me, but everybody who exists on the planet. How fantastic. So I wanted to do this live stream to ignite curiosity in the lives of genuine seekers of truth, transformation, who are not afraid of change, because we cannot create new reality if we are not willing to change who we are being right now, right? To leave behind the old level, to leave behind the old habits, old thoughts, old ways of being. To create is to embrace change. To create is to embrace new knowledge. To create is to never stop being curious. What else I don't know, right? That's the question of a true creator. What else I can learn? I was sharing with someone this beautiful phrase that I've learned from a friend. Knowledge is power. Wisdom is bliss. And what I also have learned from Thoth that I'm really excited to keep sharing again and again, that this universe has 3 levels. Level 1 is the physical level. Level 3 is a spiritual level. Level 2 is intellectual level. So as human beings, we have 3 aspects of our being. We have a physical body self and we have spirit. But the bridge between the 2 is our intellect. And sometimes, we can give intellect kind of a cold shoulder because we've been in intellect for way too long. We forgot our heart, and we've been awakening our heart. Last 50 years, we've been really committed to awaken our heart, and I think it's a very powerful journey. But let's not forget the intellect. Let's continue to expand the mind so this expanded mind can serve our awakened heart. Right? That's the dance. How can this expanded intellect serve our awakened heart? That's the team. That's the team that is unstoppable. Expanded intellect, awakened heart, in service to creating the new earth. Thank you so much for sharing this time with me. I wish you a beautiful day or beautiful evening, whenever you found this live stream or whatever it found you. I will post the link underneath this live stream for the upcoming metaphysical deep dive webinar where I'm actually going to go over the laws. And if you'd like to learn more about my work, my website is www.katerinasatori.com. It's a great joy to share this passion for ancient wisdom teachings with you, to ignite a remembrance in those sincere seekers of true transformation who are willing to engage active, dynamic, and receptive creative principles within instead of passively drifting, aimlessly drifting in the wind. This is the sovereign life. If we've never had so many opportunities available to us, let's not waste a single day, but let's create our dream reality with what we've got, guided by the passion and the vision of our soul. Thank you.